the Declaration of Independence. Our rights come from God, not from government. It makes our country unique.
Charlie Kirk lived and died defending free speech and American values. Just days before Charlie's assassination on September 10th, Charlie spoke those words with fire. But now his death is being used to silence dissent, both here and across the globe. Is this what he would want? Let's begin with Charlie's final podcast, which was recorded 2 days before his death. Charlie started this episode by reading the Declaration of Independence.
It becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have connected them with another.
Which is really important and seems very, very profound to me. He dedicated the first 10 minutes to really unpacking the origins of our rights, whether they are God-given or government-granted.
What are natural rights? Natural rights are basic freedoms we are born with because we are human. The first of which is life, then liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. You do not earn them, and no government gives them to you. They are built in. Where do they come from? They come from God, or at the very least, from nature's law. Government does not make them. They can only respect them or violate them. Let me say that again. Government does not make your rights. Government can only respect them or violate them.
For 10 minutes, he argued that our rights are sacred and not gifts from bureaucrats. He even called out Senator Kaine for some extremely chilling words.
It is, without a doubt, one of the darkest, most chilling things I have heard a U.S. senator say. And we've heard some beauties.
The notion that rights don't come from laws and don't come from the government, but come from the creator. That's what the Iranian government believes. It's a theocratic regime that bases its rule on Shia law and targets Sunnis, Baha'is, Jews, Christians, and other religious minorities. And they do it because they believe that they understand what natural rights are from their creator. So the statement that our rights do not come from our laws or our governments is extremely troubling.
Woo! He believes the government gives you rights, that laws give you rights. That's why he's okay with aborting babies, because those humans have no rights because the government hasn't given those rights to him.
Charlie called that one of the darkest things he's ever heard from a U.S. senator, a threat to our core freedoms. His whole life, Charlie fought for free speech, defending even the stuff that we hate, because he knew that was the only way you could defend us and protect us against tyranny.
A free speech absolutist, through and through. I think that the utility of speech is what makes human beings different than any other type of being on the planet. Aristotle said we are the speaking beings, that our capacity to communicate is who we are. And I actually think it creates an active citizenry when bad people are allowed to speak. When really bad people are given a permit, all of a sudden the entire population's like, that's disgusting. Let's go get our yard signs, go make them, and we're going to go speak out against them. They're kind of on their toes. They're looking out for things. All of a sudden, if the government becomes the speech police and they start calling the shots, like, oh, the government will get rid of the bad guys for me. And they kind of become complacent. They become less active. They become less responsible for the country around them. And so I don't draw a line. That's me. I say that you should allow all opinions to be heard. Now, with slander, if you know you have materially false information and you publish it to a big, wide readership, that is not freedom of speech. That is slander.
So why is his death now fueling the opposite? That's definitely not what Charlie would want. Charlie's entire fight was rooted in the First Amendment. The founders wrote it to protect against government censorship, not private pushback. And the reason they made it so broad was because they lived under British censorship, where they were gagged and persecuted. Inspired by thinkers like John Locke, they believed that open debate, even if it was messy, was the only path to truth. And the Federalist Papers really drove this home. A free marketplace of ideas is the heart of democracy. Speech, press, assembly, petition, they protected it all. Knowing the risk of bad ideas was better than state control. Now today, that line is blurring. If we lose this foundation, we lose literally everything that Charlie fought for. Charlie's assassination has unleashed a firestorm.
There's free speech, and then there's hate speech. we will absolutely target you, go after you, if you are targeting anyone with hate speech.
Attorney General Pam Bondi has vowed to target hate speech. GOP leaders like Clay Higgins are pushing to ban critics from platforms, blacklist businesses, and even expel students. I think it's really important to make a distinction between legal consequences and social consequences. Like we said, the First Amendment does not protect against, social pushback, but it does protect against government censorship. I think it's okay if a business decides to fire someone because they don't agree with what they said. However, I don't think that we can have our government enforcing censorship on us. Because now what we're starting to see is that Charlie's death is fueling selective enforcement, like boosting the Antisemitism Awareness Act, which could label Israel criticism as hate speech on college campuses. Trump's 2019 executive order is now hitting foreigners' visas for similar posts, and Charlie himself warned against this.
We also agree this Jew hate stuff has no place in public discourse, period. End of story. And I don't like it. It's disgusting, and we need to call it out when we see it. And finally, I hope we demonstrated, and both our participants got a little lively at times, that this is a debate worth having, that it's better to have this out in the open than silence people and censor them and call them names. Instead, this is how we solve our problems.
Last April, he said weaponizing anti-Semitism could silence dissent, just like the leftist tactics. This whole situation that's unfolding right now is really not his vision. This is like betrayal. We've already seen a lot of these things being enforced in the UK, which Charlie was very vocal about advocating against. The UK has the Online Safety Act, which has led to numerous arrests for tweets. Just tweets people are getting arrested for. Europe fines in jails for hate speech. And America is supposed to be different. We always were prioritizing liberty over control. That's like the whole point. And Charlie knew this. He called out the UK's laws as totalitarian last June.
Is this a way that a liberal democracy and an ally of the United States acts? Just to be clear, what she said would not be any prison time in America. I don't like what she said, but she showed contrition. Well, there's two parts. The first part where she said, I don't want immigrants in my country. Perfectly acceptable. That's fine. You can say that. You're allowed to have that.
Let me clarify what she said.
Yeah, I want to be clear.
By the time she sent the tweets, some asylum hotels were in the midst of being burnt down or their Molotovs thrown through a window. She tweeted, "Burn them down for all I care."
You're allowed to say that in America.
So the argument is, was she inciting violence, or was she reacting to the images she was seeing?
You could, and by the way, just to be clear, you guys have the wrong incitement threshold. In America, you need to have specific time and specific place in order to reach the incitement threshold. Every day people say, someone should go kill Charlie Kirk. I don't like it, but that's protected speech. In America, we care about what you do, not about what you say. And then she showed contrition and she apologized. And from my understanding, when the police force showed up to her door, they asked her questions being like, do you hate immigrants? No. She gave very satisfactory answers and they still arrested her. And I just find it so outrageous that she's going to now jail for 2.5 years for a deleted social media post that she apologized for. As you guys have birthed free speech to the world, you now guys are becoming a totalitarian country. Who cares the circumstances? You're allowed to say these things. And the fact that you guys are policing speech, unspecified speech of someone that then deleted their tweet or their social media post, you guys know the reference. You are becoming Orwell's 1984. This is wrong on every fundamental moral level. You do not have a free liberal democracy without freedom of speech.
And now his death is pushing us towards the same path, which is the complete opposite of what Charlie stood for. Now, this is a very, very slippery slope. Hate speech starts with threats, but can grow to include just things that are offensive in general. History proves this. Governments abuse vague rules. Who decides what's too far? Politicians with their own agendas. If we don't stop this, silencing political opponents just becomes normal, acceptable. Charlie warned us about this. Free speech is messy, but it is essential. Charlie Kirk believed the cure for bad speech is more speech, not silence. Using his death to censor, here or globally, betrays his legacy. And honestly, we really have to act now. We have to start contacting lawmakers. We have to actually start doing something. Because if we don't, it's going to be taken away from us. We just have to ask ourselves, like, what would Charlie want? He'd want a free America, not a censored one. So let's all honor him by fighting for it.
Our rights coming from God makes them inalienable because they are rooted in the equal God-given dignity shared by all human beings. This is an inarguable spiritual element to our nation. This is why we are a refuge for liberty. This is more than just a difference of opinion. It's a difference of birthright.